myself Rahul Thakkar from LJ Institutes of Engineering and Technology. In the current video lecture series, we are studying subject of Physics Group 1. Till now, in the chapter of Properties of Matter, we have learned what is basics of stress, strain, and concepts of elasticity along with derivation of time period of torsional pendulum, work done in stretching a wire or a wire shaft, and torsional rigidity of a cylinder for both solid and hollow cases. Also, we have derived an equation for depression of a cantilever beam loaded at the end and loaded uniformly. Also, we have studied the cantilever supported on two knife edge and loaded in the middle. Now in this video, we will learn about the viscosity and its measurement by Ostwald's viscometer. In the previous videos, we have dealt with the properties of all solids. Now in this video, we are dealing with properties of liquids because liquids offer viscosity. Okay, you all might be aware about, just in the simple words, viscosity is nothing but the resistance to the flow of liquid. Okay, so let's start with first topic of today's session, that is viscosity. So as you can see in the figure, but before moving or explaining the figure, I may recall you the proper wordings for the definition of viscosity. It is a property of a fluid which describes the frictional resistance to the flow of fluid, and it measures the resistance of fluid to deform under the shear stress. It is an intrinsic property of a material, okay, especially in liquids and gases. It is observed in fluids. Fluid means either liquids and gases. Gases are also considered in fluids. Okay, you will study it in detailing later. But let us remember one thing in mind. If you are in mechanical and automobile branch or in the civil branch students, then this component of physics, that is the viscosity, is much more important for you, because whenever you are dealing with, if you think you are in the automobile branch, what is the meaning of this viscosity? So it is used in various cases. Let me tell you one example. By blending of fuel, in order to run an automobile vehicle, you will be required to find out the viscosity of a fuel, because if the viscosity is more, then the fluid will get choked up into the pipelines and it will not flow. So this is much more important than you think. Okay, so the topic over here is too short, but it has too much importance in this various branches, especially in mechanical, automobile and civil works. Okay, so let us understand this phenomena or figure very clearly. In the figure you can see a stationary surface or a surface on which the fluid is flowing. There are different layers of the fluid you can see. Okay, so velocity of the fluid towards the surface is low, and velocity on the upper surface of the fluid is very much higher because of the viscosity. Okay, the velocity is decreasing while going towards the surface because of the intermolecular forces. They try to adhere each other, and cohesive force and adhesive force combinedly stops or retards the motion of a fluid, and because of that the velocity gets decreased. Let us take one layer. As you can see, the middle layer at x. Let us take one layer of a fluid at a distance x with a velocity v. Its upper layer is taken as x plus dx, and its below layer is taken as x minus dx. So you can observe the velocity. On the upper layer, velocity is higher, and on the lower layer, the velocity is lesser. That is, v minus dv is at the lower layer, and the v plus dv is at the upper layer. Means on increasing x, the velocity is decreasing. Okay, because the viscous force is inversely proportional to the x. This shows that viscous force is decreasing while increasing the x. So it is inversely proportional to the x. Okay. So this is all about viscosity. But now let us calculate the coefficient of viscosity. So for that, the backward dragging force is also known as a viscous force, that is directly proportional to the area. It is directly proportional to the velocity, but negative sign indicates the force is in opposite direction to the velocity. If velocity is in forward direction, the force will be in backward direction, so negative sign is indicated, and force is inversely proportional to the x. Okay, F is proportional to 1 by x. So it is depending on these three factors, that is area. If surface area of this plate is larger, then more viscous force is obtained because the contact surface area is more. If velocity is higher, more the viscous force is there, and if depth or thickness is higher, then lesser the viscous force is there. Okay, so F is proportional to minus A into V by X. On removing the proportionality sign, we get some constant, and that constant is nothing but the coefficient of viscosity. Over here, F is equals to eta into minus A into V by X, or we can say that F is equals to eta into minus dV by dx. So on taking the modulus, because we are dealing just with the coefficient, that is the positive way. Okay, on whichever the direction of the viscous force is there, we do not deal with. We are dealing with just the magnitude of forces. So F is equals to eta into A dV by dx, where eta is the coefficient of viscosity. Now, if you think for this, what will be its unit? Its unit will be Newton into second upon meter square. So that was all for the viscosity. Now let us move on to the topic of measurement of viscosity. So for measurements, there are various experimental setups and techniques available. In the 12th science, you might have studied one method of a spherical ball, dropping that spherical ball in a column of castor oil. That was one method to measure the viscosity of the oil. But that method is applicable only on the denser material. For the lighter material, the ball will slightly just go down. Okay, let us take some fuel or another material like petrol, diesel, or kerosene. They are the lighter materials, but for that, the viscosity will not be obtained by that method. Okay, so another measurement techniques are there. One of the measurement technique that is included in our syllabus is Ostwald's viscometer. If you can see in the figure, it consists of two columns and two bulk, that is A and B. The upper surface of bulb A is C and lower surface of bulb B is marked with the D. The upper surface of bulb B is marked with G. Okay. Now, looking into the procedure, how to calculate the viscosity by using this, we require two liquids, one of known viscosity and one whose viscosity is to be found out. Okay, we will be doing this experiment for 2 times with 2 different liquids. Okay, one with a known liquid whose viscosity is known to us, and one with another liquid whose viscosity is to be found out. So let's take the liquid whose viscosity is to be found out. Okay, fill this viscometer with the liquid being examined through the tube slightly above the mark G. You can see over here the mark G. Fill the liquid slightly above the mark G. Place the tube vertically in a water bath and attain a constant temperature. Wait for a few minutes in order to get the constant temperature. Though developing the suction in the tube arm having bulb A such that the liquid rises above 5 mm just above the mark C. What you need to do is develop a suction on the column with a bulb having mark A. By suction, you can do it by your mouth as well, or you can do it by some pump. Just suck the liquid. Because of the suction, the liquid level will rise up such that it will rise up till the mark 5 mm just above the mark C. Okay. Now after releasing the pressure, what will happen? The liquid will rise slowly towards the lower end, because now the pressure is released. It will again fall down. Now at that time, measure the time taken from the bottom of the meniscus to fall from the top edge of the mark C to the top edge of the mark D. Liquid is slowly lowering its potential. Okay, so at that time, calculate the time for the travel from C to D. Time taken for C to D is to be measured. Okay, now repeat this procedure 3 to 4 times. Suck again, rise the level, lower it, suck again, rise the level, lower it, and measure the time. Why this thing we are doing? In order to get the accurate time. Okay, after doing 4 to 5 times repetition, take the average of the time so you can get the exact time for that. Okay, there might be many errors, so in order to minimize that error, we are doing this procedure. Okay, so just time is to be noted till now. Till now, what we have done? Take this apparatus, fill the liquid, put it in a bath, and let it attain a saturated temperature. After that, suction is provided. Because of the suction, the level of the liquid will rise. Up to what height we need to rise it? Above 5 mm, just 5 mm above mark C. And after that, release the pressure, it will lower it down. We have to note the time from C to D. Time taken by the liquid to reach from C to D. Okay. Thereafter, what we need to do is we need to go on to the analytical part. Ostwald viscometer works on the principle of Poiseuille's law for the capillary tube. As per this law, the rate of flow of liquid V over here is indicating the volume per unit time. Okay, rate of flow of liquid through a capillary rise having the viscosity coefficient mu. Over here we are taking the notation of viscosity coefficient as mu. You can take eta as well. Okay, is given by V is equals to pi into P into R raised to 4 by 8 mu L. Now over here, what is V? We have understood it. V is the volumetric flow rate. P is the pressure difference across the tubes. R is the radius of the tube. And L is the length of the capillary portion, that is from C to D. Okay. So now repeat this procedure with the second liquid whose comparison is to be done. Okay. Now take the sample of the liquid whose viscosity is known to us. So for that we get V dash is equals to pi into P into R raised to 4 upon 8 mu dash L dash mu dash into L. L will be constant for both. P will be also constant. Pressure difference is same for both the cases. So since now the pressure will be varied because of the density of the two liquids, because two liquids having different densities. So because of that, the pressure will also be varied. So taking the ratio, okay, V by V dash, we get rho into U dash by rho dash into U. So due to the variation in the pressure difference P and P dash, the flow rates V and V dash also varies during the flow of the liquid, but their time for the flow of the unit volume of the two liquids varies inversely to V and V dash. Okay, therefore the total time T and T dash for traveling the distance CD will have the relation like V upon V dash is equals to T upon T dash. On substituting the value of T and T dash in place of V and V dash, you can see it over here. I am marking it. So we get T upon T dash is equals to rho dash by rho dash into U mu upon rho into mu dash. So that is how we can calculate the viscosity of the known liquid, because density of both the liquid is known to us, time taken has been noted, one viscosity is known to us, one of the liquid's viscosity mu dash is known to us, so that is how we can calculate mu. Okay, so from the above equation it is very clear that the densities of the fluid and measurement of the time flow ratio of the viscosities can be easily measured. So that was all for the chapter of properties of matters, and we have discussed the major properties and its laws for the different forms of matter such as solids and liquids. We have seen elasticity for the case of solids and viscosity for the cases of liquids. I hope you understand this chapter very well. That's it for today, guys. Stay home, stay safe. Thanks for watching.